Hello, hello everyone, and happy Tuesday. Wonderful sunny day today. Hope everyone is doing well. It's the end of August, and here we are. Summer is just about over. Good thing Labor Day is a little bit later this year, so we get that one extra week of summertime. But the time sure is flying, so I guess that means we are having fun. Thank you for joining me tonight for Learning Live. We're going to be playing with a fun new tool. We played with it a little bit last week in the store doing some demonstrations, and now I am bringing it to all of you who maybe don't live close enough to the store, or the hours didn't work out for you, or maybe you just want a refresher. I do know that our friend Donna has already been playing with this tool. Matt's giving me the thumbs up. Facebook has been a little bit wonky, so if you are watching on Facebook and something happens and you lose us, hop on over to YouTube. We will be there as well, or come back and catch us on the replay. So this is Learning Live, where I do a project or a demo or share some tips, and tonight probably going to do all three. I'm just going to give another maybe 10 seconds for people to jump on. We've been doing a lot of fun playing, and you know what I'm just realizing? I didn't grab any paper, but it's a good thing that I'm here in my craft room and have lots of paper handy. So I'm going to go off camera for 2 seconds, grab me some paper here out of my stash. There we go. Oh, it's not on that camera yet. It's on this camera still. So, hello Debbie. Hello everyone else who is watching tonight. We're going to have some fun. So, I'm going to switch over to my overhead camera. Excuse me. We do have a little bit of a cold going through our house. I think I'm okay. I think I'm just a little bit dry, but I've got my water handy. You grab your tea or your coffee or your nighttime snack and just sit back. And let's see what this brand new Sizzix tool is all about. And switch, here we go. So this is actually a combination of two different tools. Excuse me, I did grab my boxes here because the names I always get mixed up. So this is what's called the registration press tool. And that is this base tool that is sitting here on my desktop. And I'm going to do my best to keep this on camera at all times. I'm as zoomed out as I can be, so it's a nice big tool. If I need to, I can always turn it sideways. That's one of the benefits of things. You can just really play with it and work with it the way you want to. So the registration press tool is by Sizzix. There is another version that is called a stamp and stencil tool. The only difference between that tool and this one is this little piece here. On the other one is like a minty green, whereas the ones that we chose to bring in is gray. Really the only difference. I'm not really sure why they changed the name on it. But there we go. That is what this tool is all about. It is primarily a stamping platform. So if you need help with your stamping, if you maybe have always been eyeing a MISTI, especially if you are a scrapbooker, this is a nice large format, then this tool might be something for you to consider. So really good for doing nice big stamps, working on larger surfaces like scrapbooking pages and that kind of thing. So at its very base level, it is a stamping platform. And I'm seeing a bunch of people joining in. Hello, Shelley. Hello, Pat. I already said hi to Debbie. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight. Other elements of this tool. This is the base registration tool. So first and foremost, that top platform comes off, so you can add other tools like we'll be doing later on. You can also move the tool. So I think and we'll talk about the Catherine Pooler tool in just a minute, but say your stamp was here, you could stamp it like this, then lift it up, move it along one notch, stamp it again, lift it up, move it along one notch, stamp it again, and create that row of stamped images. A little bit cumbersome though, because it is quite big, so that's why the second tool came into play, but we'll learn more about that in a second. Other things that come with this tool, you do get a sheet of sticky grid. So this is like a giant Post-it note. You can't, it's quite, the platform's heavy, so obviously I can't just lift it up with my hand, but this grid, this paper is sticky like a Post-it note. So when you put your paper on, let me just grab a little piece to show you. When you stick your paper on, for example, it's not going to move. It's not going to fall off. So that is what is holding your paper in place. You don't need magnets. You don't need extra tape. That's all there is to it. Now there is a little finger divot here, so when this starts to lose its sticky, you can peel it up, put a fresh clean sheet on. In the main set you do get one sheet, but you can buy additional packs as well. I was playing with it and showing off how this works and how that little finger divot is there. And then of course that lost its sticky, so that's why I've got the tape there. But know that your sticky grid is going to stick when you put it down. The other piece that comes in this is that piece that I was telling you has different colors. Ours is gray. And so you'll see there's two little posts here. Right here at the top of the platform, there's also two little posts here. The Sizzix stencils have little holes so that you can take your stencil and lay it down like so. Do your stenciling, lift it up, put the second layer on, and so on and so forth. And that way you know you are always in the same spot. This again helps you maneuver that stencil, so if you want it higher or lower on your page, you can do that, and it keeps that flexibility there for you. Just because I said the Sizzix stencils have the holes already doesn't mean you can't use your own stencils. So these are actually Christina Werner stencils from Concord and 9th. And all I have done is added, pulling out all my little tricks here from my little bag, I have added a little adapter strip. And it looks like this. You get 10 in the pack. So it's just this little strip here. It's got the holes that line up with that tool. It's got an adhesive strip that you use to attach to your stencil. And you can then make any stencil work on this tool with the posts without any issues. Just checking. Hello, Joan. Hello, everyone who's joining. So any size, any kind of stencil you can use. Common question that I get, can you reuse these strips? So yes, theoretically, you can peel this off and put it on another stencil. However, once that stickiness is exposed, you'd have to find a way to protect that stickiness. So it's not something that I necessarily would recommend. Again, you get 10 in a pack. So that should do you for, a couple of good stencil sets. I would certainly not go and put adapters on every single stencil that I own. I would only put them on as I need them, and really primarily they are for layering stencils. To put them on, like I said, you peel that strip. This is my first stencil in the series. So I found a landmark. This one's got Christina Werner etched in that top left-hand corner. I centered this as best I could, but you don't have to. You can put it wherever. As it is, I am covering up a little part of the stencil. So if you need to find kind of a blank area to stick it in, you can. The trick is when you come to stencil number 2 and stencil number 3. So what I did to prep my stencils is I did the first one, then I put it in place. Then I took stencil number 2. Again, I've got Christina Werner etched up here in the top, match it with the Christina Werner that's here, and then applied the second strip. And I would continue to do that for all the stencils in this set. The one thing I would highly recommend is that your little adapter goes on top of the stencil, not behind. And the reason is this. If you are a crafter like me especially when I get going, especially when you get going on your stenciling, I try to move pretty fast. I can be impatient. I know you're shocked, but yes, I can be impatient. So if the adapter was on this area here, and I just quickly grab the stencil to rip and go, I do run the risk of pulling this off. And just by having it there, if I'm going too fast, you could damage your stencil, you could wreck your adapter. By putting it here with the adapter on top, not only was it easier to apply that second one, the third one, and so on, when I grab the stencil, I can just gently lift up here and I don't lose that adapter. So that is all things about the registration press. Brenda, I did see you were in the store today. Yes, we do have the Catherine Pooler tool in stock now. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I know you had been interested in the beginning, so I'm glad you are watching this and hope that I can entice you to grab a tool. All right, so that is the base tool, and you can do a lot with what you've got here. But in order to keep things fresh and to try new things, Sizzix is coming out with additional add-ons. So there is an add-on that came out second after this that is a rotating spinning tool for creating wreaths and that kind of thing. We haven't dug into that one yet. I really wanted to get onto the Catherine Pooler tool, so we've started there. But if you have interest in that, then that's something we are looking at down the road, maybe a little closer to Christmas or possibly even in the new year. Now, if you remember when I was talking about this large platform, I was telling you you could stamp it, move it along, stamp it, move it along, stamp it, and do that kind of thing to get a nice straight row across. What you can't do with this method is do columns. You can't go, well, I guess that's doing your columns. You can't do the rows. So you can't do row after row of a particular stamped image. And Catherine Pooler herself was playing with this tool. She does an awful lot of stamping and that kind of thing herself. And she really wanted to use this tool to create nice straight rows, nice straight columns, and really create some beautiful patterns on her projects. So she worked with Sizzix, she got out her sketchbook, she kind of made a plan, and that is where the Catherine Pooler print and pattern tool, it's a mouthful, the print and pattern tool will make all of these patterns. You can use stamps, you can use stencils, you can use them both together. So that's what we're really gonna focus on tonight, is this Catherine Pooler tool. So I've got all my other little bits and bobs kind of tucked aside, or I will have in a second. Got them kind of all over the place here, but we are gonna use this tool for tonight. And Brenda, yes, we'll put one aside for you. Or you can just go ahead and order it online and have it ready for pickup. That's the best way to make sure that you get it for yourself. All right, so the Catherine Pooler print and pattern tool. I'm going to mess that up again, but print and pattern tool comes with this arm. And just like that platform, it locks. And it's a little stiff because it's still new. Come on. Well, there we go. So there's the trick. You want it to be upright before you pull and try and get all of that going. And just like that top piece, you can move it left and right. Sorry, my arm is in the way. Let me come over this way. You can move it left and right so that you can adjust where your images are going on your paper. There is also a numbering mechanism here and a little button. My little button keeps popping off, so I've got it taped. But you just push and slide, and it'll click into the next little hole. There's all these little divots down here that keep it locked in place. So I've got this set at station number 1, and that's important in a second. And I'm just going to put that in here. Then there are two little, let's call them the vertical sliders. There is this one here that has this plastic plate. That is to hold your stamps. And I'm going to show you, we're gonna play with the stamp set that comes in the set with the Catherine Pooler tool, but you can use any stamps. Any stamps that you have in your stash, you can absolutely use those on this tool. It's just got this plate here that you put your stamp on. This slides along this arm here. Come on. There we go. And again, it's just got a little button here that you push along and you match your guide like so. So there you go. That is the stamp piece. Then there is this guy. And this guy can be a little bit more confusing. Always make sure your button goes on the left, because as you're moving up and down that left hand side, you want the button there. This has the posts for the stencil. So once again, I'm just sliding it on the end here and just moving along, and it's giving you the indicator here. So I'm going to put this right, no I'm not, because I'm going to use the stamp piece first. With your stencil, this set comes with a circle stencil, a circle stencil, a small and a large, a hexagon stencil, small and large, and there is a diamond stencil as well, which he's hiding in my bag here. I can't seem to find the diamond right now, but know that you do get 3 stencils in your set. Yeah, I can't find it, but that's okay. We'll play with the circles predominantly tonight anyways. Now, are you feeling a little overwhelmed? Are you feeling like there are an awful lot of pieces to this little contraption? There are a few, and they all have a good purpose, but I know sometimes things come out of the box and they kind of get scattered. So I would highly recommend, if you are interested in this tool, grab yourself a 12 by 12 handle it from the organized option. And if memory serves me correctly, these are on sale until tomorrow night. So this is the 12 by 12 handle it. Everything fits nicely inside. And then you just pull your handles up so that you can carry it or store it on your shelf. It definitely helps to keep it all together. All right, who's ready to get stamping? Let's see this baby in action. Now, when we were doing our demos on Thursday and Friday last week, I went ahead and cut a whole bunch of these smaller pieces. I was creating patterns here. This is, I think, my favorite one, covering that whole panel. But what I started thinking was, if I was gonna, be crafting away and get this tool out, it's probably a whole lot easier to take a big piece, stamp the whole thing, stencil the whole thing, and then cut it apart for your purposes. So for tonight, I did just grab some normal 8.5 by 11 paper. That's what we're going to use. But now you're going to call me on it, because I said earlier, this tool was great for scrapbooking. If you are a traditional 12 by 12 scrapbooker, one thing you will notice is that this platform piece, the registration tool, does not have any edges on the 3 sides. So 100% you can use this on 12 by 12 paper. So here I've just taken a piece of pink and I've created a little corner element on each side. I stamped it one side, I rotated it and stamped it on the other side. But whatever I show you tonight to use for card making, you absolutely could use for scrapbooking as well. One last little thing that I will digress and tell you about is this is called, this is a journal adapter. And I don't think that's the right name for it. Oh, it's called a hinge adapter. This goes up here, I'm not going to do it because it's got little prongs that you use to take it off, and I always get them stuck. But it just sits on top of your hinge there, and as you can see, it gives you like an extra 1.5 inches of depth. So if you wanted to stamp in a journal or something that was really thick and dimensional, this hinge adapter is for you. I know Darlene is super excited about that as she gets into her art journaling and whatnot. So definitely something to keep in mind if you like to do dimensional projects. Okay, back to square one, back to the print and pattern tool. So I've got this here in station number 1. I've got this edge to edge, perfectly aligned from end to end. And I'm going to take my stamping tool and I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to come all the way up to station number 1 here so that we are matching station 1, station 1. I think I'm going to go with the spirograph stamp since that's one of my favorites in this set. And just pull it out here. And I'm going to put it right in the crosshair, so to speak. I have seen people put it, off to the side. If you want it, you know what, maybe I will try that a little bit differently tonight. Nah, let me stick with what I know. I'm going to put this in the crosshairs, and you know what, sometimes it's easier just to make sure everything's straight and even. And so the stamp goes on the underneath, just like a stamping block, just like a MISTI, you're going to do this underneath. And back again we go to station number 1. And it just, again, it locks into place, so away you go. Lift this up, stay, and I'm going to add my paper. And this is really going to go edge to edge. So maybe just for fun, I'm going to come in just a little bit. And I just won't be able to go all the way because otherwise it'll go right off the side. Giving it a good rub down so now it's nice and stuck to my paper. Now when I do this, what you will notice, even though I'm at station 1 and station 1, I'm not in that top corner of that paper. So what I can do is I can lift this up and I can move this over. I'm actually going to move it over, looks like 3 slots. And I think maybe I need to move my paper down just a little bit. So that, there we go. We are just hitting that corner. I'll be able to get most of this, and we can maneuver things to get the other side. So here is the, I want to say tricky part. Here is the part where I give you my warning. In order to ink up your stamp, what you have to do is lift this up, and you're going to reach across and put your ink on. Highly recommend you take your left hand, you put it here on that white piece here, and use that to stabilize and hold it steady. And the reason is twofold. If you don't do that and you're just doing this, you can see it bounces. You may get your thing dropping down when you're not ready for it. The other thing is, when we're inking, we have a tendency to push because we're obviously applying the ink and we're going to push. If we push too hard, we could break our tool. So just by holding this relatively firmly and inking this up, we are going to be able to keep this nice and stable for our inking purposes. So of course I am using Catherine Pooler ink. I'm starting with orange peel, and I'm going to just gently ink this up. Definitely one of the benefits to Catherine Pooler ink is how juicy it is. So you don't need to press hard to apply your ink. If you are using something like a Gina K ink or Pink Fresh or any of those ones that have the felt pad, you may have to push a little bit harder in order to get the ink on your stamp. But again, holding it and keeping it stable will help solidify and stabilize that piece. All right, so I've stamped this down. Can I zoom in a little bit here? There we go. So I've stamped this down. When I lift it up, it's actually not a bad stamp. But say I had missed a part of it, I can go back in, ink it again, just like a Misty, just like any stamping platform, and re-ink it as many times as I need. That's step one. Now what we're going to do is we are going to move our little piece along so that I'm going to create a whole row of these spirographs. You could change colors if you want, and maybe, yep, I've got my baby wipes here, so let me clean the stamp, and I'm going to change, actually, you know what, no. Probably easier if you do a whole row of one color, and then if you want to change colors, come back, because we've got these little measurements here that will help us stay in line. So I'm going to gently lift this up. I'm going to push down on my button. If I go over 1, it's going to overlap. If I go over 2, it's still going to overlap. If I go over, and I know from practice that if I go over to number 4, then I've got them nice and side by side. But if I want to alternate colors, I know I need to go over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go over to number 8 and see what happened here. Just click and push, click and push. There we are at number 8. Ink it up again and go down. And then I could keep going across, or this is where I would move my whole bar over. But you're saying, Sheri, what happens about the up and down? Well, this is where we're going to figure this out. So I'm going to go back to station 4. Make it click. There we go, which is where this second one be. I think maybe 8 was too far. I probably should have gone at 7. And this is where you may have to just do some practicing and trying things out. But that's okay. We're going to learn. I'm now going to come down to station 4 on the vertical side. Yep, that should work. And let's add a stamp in here. There we go. Now I'm going to come down to what should have been 7 before, and I'm going to come back over to 1. And let's just keep making our pattern. So there we go. And just to keep it straight, I'm going to come all the way back to 8. Because, you know, if you make a mistake once, keep making the same mistake so it looks like it's on purpose. Now, I should be careful because I dropped it down when I didn't want to. But that's okay. And so on and so forth. So let me pull this back out. Let's go back to 4 and 7 to 10 should be just about right. So you can see here, we're very slowly building this nice platform, or sorry, not platform, pattern all the way up and down our page. So back to 1. I'm going to do one more set here. And got to come down to 13. There is a little bit of math involved. But this is where you practice. This is where you make notes. Did I get that there? And once you've figured it out once, you can do it again and again. Now, reaching across, as you can see, sometimes can have its challenges. So I thought to myself, what happens if I go this way? Personally, this was not my favorite choice. It was definitely much easier to ink because I'm using my right hand. I've got it a lot closer. I'm not reaching across my paper. But when it goes down, it's a little bit trickier to get this to move along. And it's difficult to see because everything's kind of in front of my work. What's your other option? I could flip it this way. And this is definitely a possibility. If you are right-handed, It's a little bit awkward at first to learn how to put the ink on with your left hand, but you are keeping this nice and stable, and then when you come down to stamp, you can actually see what you're doing. And having this here on my right hand side, I did find was a little bit easier. So if you decide to try one of these tools, to invest in one of these tools, definitely try out all of those things. You don't, just because the picture shows you doing it up and down doesn't mean that it can't work for you, doesn't mean that you can't adapt to make it work for yourself. Okay, so here's where I'm going to switch colors. So I'm going to pull this off, all the way off. I find it easier to clean when it's off. That way, again, I'm not inclined to push too hard in an area that I don't want to push on. I don't want to create extra stress. But I can just wipe this down, get all that inky ink off, and now we can switch colors. Did I get all that? Woo, that's a messy baby wipe. Get my other cloth, give it an extra wipe, and we're gonna start all over again. So, put it back up to station number 1. I'm already in station number 4 here, so that's gonna go right in line with my other ones. Let me switch to Skylight, which is a nice tealy blue. Again, I'm holding the platform, I'm gently pushing, and then dropping it down. And let's not worry about this side, let's just keep going on this side. So I want to come down to station 4, I want to go back to station 1, lift, inky ink, and there we go. And let's go all the way over to station 8, 6, 7, 8. And repeat. Looking awesome, isn't it? So I'm going to come down to 7, go back to 4. And you know what? I can see if I was doing this not on camera, in my own crafting, I can definitely see myself making up a rhyme saying up to 1 and down to 4 and over to 8 and repeat, repeat. Because, you know, that's what I do when I'm crafting by myself. I make up songs. And I need to come down to 10. Ink that up. Stamp it. Let's do 2 more. This one's going to come all the way over to 8 again. And I can tell you, now that I have played with it, 2 days last week and playing with it here tonight, the more I play with it, the easier it gets. So make sure you spend some time with it. Just like all tools, they have their idiosyncrasies. They have their little nuances that you have to learn. But once you've learned them, you've got it all figured out. All right, last one here. And then I'm going to take that right off. And look how awesome that looks. So I could now cut that down into 1 or 2 cards. If I was doing the whole thing, I would just continue to move along and continue that pattern. Oops, wrong side. Wondering why that ink didn't come off. It's on the wrong side. So that is the stamping portion. Then there is the stenciling portion, and it works very much the same way, except we are using a stencil. So I'm going to return this back to station number 1. That will go at station number 1. And I think my goal is going to be to try and put a circle in between each one of these guys. You will notice the stencil has holes on all 4 sides, so that you can put your stencil whichever way you want. And I'm going to take my little adapter. Button goes on the left side. I'm going to do it this way. And as much as your little stencil fits nicely in here, I just took a piece of tape just to hold it steady, because I know I'm going to be moving it and lifting it and I don't want it to keep coming off. So just a little piece of tape here can hold it onto the tool. The other thing is, I know that I only want to use the small hole, not the large hole. So your Post-it notes, another big piece of tape, can just go on here to protect it so that you don't make any boo-boos. All right, so let's see where we end up here. Oh, let's see, that still came off. So up here to station 1, put this in here. Make sure that tape is holding. Well, I'm way too high over here, so I'm going to come down. I think it should fit in that number 4. Let's come over here. 4 is too much. 3 is not quite enough, so I'm going to move my paper over just 1 square, because I think that's going to help me land, yeah, right where I want it to. And I'm just going to take, actually let's do yellow, just for a different color. Take my yellow, ink that up, and voila, we've got a little yellow dot in between. And I can come over here. Now, if this had been where I had originally planned for it, that little hole will work properly. So my pattern might not look exactly right, but now you can see how easy it is to add your stencil. So now I'm going back to 3. And let's go down here. There is a degree of eyeballing to it, but then you've got the tool that is going to keep it nice and even, nicely managed. And see how easy doing that stenciling was? I find the stamping is probably the best thing to start with, and then go in with your stencil afterwards, because that way you can really eyeball and see where it's going to go. But there you have it. Now you've got that beautiful pattern that you can cut apart, cut down to size, use in your projects, and have tons of fun. I think that's it for me. I just wanted to show you all those ins and outs of the things that I've learned so far. And I'm sure that as I go moving merrily along, there will be more things that I learn along the way. If you take nothing away from tonight besides this one point, it's whenever you get a new tool, whether it is a tool like this or a new cutter, or even dies to some degree, play with it. Don't try to make that perfect finished project the very first time. All tools, all users have their idiosyncrasies, and you got to kind of play with it to learn how it works. Don't be afraid to get out that scrap paper, and you can do it on colored paper too. So you saw some of my samples. And this is just playing, just playing with on the colored paper. If you're just playing, any color will work, and you will learn the things. Now, if you find something you really like, right away, write some notes on the back. Keep this in with your tool, because 3 weeks from now, or let's be honest, for me, 3 days from now, I could look at this again and totally forget how I did this. So if I write down those notes and keep them, or take a photograph and keep an album in your phone, something like that, then you're always going to have that tool to remember and be able to repeat the things that you liked. All right, that's it from me, folks. Let me come to this last screen there. I hope you found this interesting. If you are local and you want to come in the store and you want to try this out, let us know. I think I'll probably take this back to the store for the immediate term. I don't have any immediate projects that I'm using on it. So definitely come to the store. We're happy to let you get your hands on and try it yourself. And we do have all these tools plus a fabulous selection of Sizzix stencils and stamps for the holiday season. I didn't bring any of those home. I really wanted to focus on what you got with the kit. But the Christmas tree stencil, the little snowman stamps, oh my stars, I can't wait to play with those. So take a look at those as well. And until then, have a wonderful rest of your evening and a great rest of your week. Take care, everyone.